Let's start with something that should, well, be easy to say. It's wrong to snatch a person off the street and ship them to a foreign gulag with no chance to defend themselves in a court of.
Today, we're going to be listening to the speech and interview with Jen Psaki of Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. I want you guys to let me know if you think the same way I'm thinking, that he's aligning himself for a presidential run. The speech he's given is in New Hampshire. You know, normally candidates start their campaigns off in New Hampshire, although they never tell us that they are running until they're ready. So we're going to go ahead and listen to his speech first. We're going to hear him in an interview with Jen Psaki. To be honest with you, I'm liking what I'm hearing from J.B. Pritzker. He's a strong guy. He's been doing a really good job as governor of Illinois. So he could be one of our nominees, as well as nominees running for our nomination, but he could get the nomination. I mean, he's really good. So we're going to go ahead and listen to the speech, and then you'll hear my commentary in between the speech and the interview with Jen Psaki. Let's get with it.
Okay. I mentioned this at the top of the show, but Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker delivered a speech last night in New Hampshire. It was quite a speech that I just think you need to hear more of, because there's not a moment in this speech where he holds back. And he makes a pretty compelling case for why calling things out directly and clearly is really the only way to go.
Let's start with something that should, well, be easy to say. It's wrong to snatch a person off the street and ship them to a foreign gulag with no chance to defend themselves in a court of law. Standing for the idea that the government doesn't have the right to kidnap you without due process is arguably the most effective campaign slogan in history. It's the OG of political messaging. Today it's an immigrant with a tattoo. Tomorrow it's a citizen whose Facebook post annoys Donald Trump. There are plenty of people in this country who hold opinions that I find abhorrent, but my faith and our Constitution dictate that I fight for their freedoms as loudly as I defend my own. And as a Ukrainian-American Jew who built a Holocaust museum, whose family immigrated here as refugees from the Russian pogroms, let me say this to Donald Trump: stop tearing down the Constitution in the name of my ancestors.
I mean, for Democrats who are unsure about how to talk about Trump's lawless deportation program, that just gave you a pretty good idea. How about Elon Musk and the rest of Trump's cronies? Well, don't worry, you talked about them too. The governor had a few things to say about them.
Our small businesses don't deserve to be bankrupted by unsustainable tariffs. Our retirees don't deserve to be left destitute by a Social Security Administration decimated by Elon Musk. Our citizens don't deserve to lose health care coverage because Republicans want to hand a tax cut to billionaires. Our federal workers don't deserve to have, well, a 19-year-old Doge bro called Big Balls destroy their careers. Autistic kids and adults who are loving contributors to our society don't deserve to be stigmatized by a weird Nepo baby who once stashed the dead bear in the backseat of his car. Our military service members don't deserve to be told by a washed-up Fox TV commentator who drank too much and committed sexual assault before being appointed Secretary of Defense that they can't serve their country simply because they're black or gay or a woman. If it sounds like I'm becoming contemptuous of Donald Trump and the people that he has elevated, it's because I am. You should be too. They're an affront to every value this country was founded upon.
They're an affront to everything this country was founded upon. That is definitely a not holding back. And then Governor Pritzker ended his remarks with a very stark and very direct call to action. Listen to this.
When we emerge from this, and we will emerge from this, our democratic agenda must be bold and our ideas fearless. We must be willing to slay sacred cows and allow the courage of our actions to match the immediacy of our words. And we must deliver on that agenda for working families and for the real people who truly make America great. Listen, I understand the tendency to give in to despair right now, but despair is an indulgence that we cannot afford in the times upon which history turns. Never before in my life have I called for mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption, but I am now. These Republicans cannot know a moment of peace. They have to understand that we will fight their cruelty with every megaphone and microphone that we have. We must castigate them on the soapbox and then punish them at the ballot box.
These Republicans cannot know a moment of peace. I told you you'd want to hear that speech. And you're not going to want to go anywhere because Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker joins me next. We're back after a very quick break.
J.B. Pritzker is sounding really good. That speech was really, really good. He seems to be sharpening his knives. He's the exact type of candidate we need in 2028 to take the fight to the Republicans. So we're going to be looking forward to seeing him, much more of him, out doing interviews and doing speeches and all. But J.B. Pritzker is aligning himself for the Democratic nomination. And I, for one, want to hear more from him. I like what I'm hearing. Let's see what he's going to have to say in this interview with Jen Psaki after the break.
We're back with Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, who stuck around. He's still here. So we didn't even get to Democrats before the break, and this was a big part of your speech. I mean, you didn't exactly hold back last night. You said in part, quote, "What I find ironic about the current conversation surrounding our party is that the voices flocking to podcasts and cable news shows to admonish fellow Democrats for not caring enough about the struggles of working families are the same ones who, when it comes to relieving the struggles of real people, have been timid, not bold." This, to me, this strikes me as, but you tell me, of course, that you're saying it's not just a messaging issue. There are messaging issues. It's a bold policy issue. It's a boldness issue. And by the way, I think these are constructive debates to have because you need to have them to figure out the path moving forward. But it's more than messaging, right? It's policy and other things, or what do you mean by that?
It is. Let me give you an example. Our current federal minimum wage is $7.25. That's $14,000 a year if you work a full-time job. Now, the $7.25 minimum wage came from the 2000 aughts, right? I mean, almost 15, 17 years ago. We haven't raised the minimum wage since then. We Democrats, we believe that people ought to be able to earn a decent living, right? A living wage. And $7.25 is not a decent wage. Almost every Democrat that you'll talk to agrees on that. Why have we not fought to raise the minimum wage? I mean, why have we not made it a central focus of campaigns for Democrats? And what do Republicans believe, by the way? If you want to know the contrast here, Republicans, if you ask them, almost all of them think that we shouldn't raise the minimum wage, and some large portion of them think we shouldn't have a minimum wage at all. Now, think about that. So why haven't we Democrats made that a central focus? Because we're talking about a whole lot of people in the country who make minimum wage. Now, I'm giving that as an example of we Democrats want to fight for working class people, and yet we haven't been able to get that done. Even when we had majorities in the Congress and we had the presidency, we didn't get it done. Why not? Because we need to be bold, and we're not being bold enough. And by the way, we believe in universal health care. I think every Democrat believes everybody ought to have a doctor, everybody ought to have health care. And most Republicans don't think that everybody deserves to have health care. They think it is a privilege, not a right. And so that's a huge contrast. Why have we not fought to get that? And Barack Obama got a lot done, but we haven't nearly covered everybody, and we haven't done a good enough job of even covering the people that have the Affordable Care Act. So these are things that I think we need to stand up and speak out about. PBMs, pharmaceutical companies, we have not been bold enough to take them on. And yet we Democrats know that the bulk of us believe that we must do that. Hasn't been done. So there's a contrast between people who want to get these things done, some of us getting it done at the state level, and people who are, I don't know, sitting around and saying, well, I couldn't get it done. I couldn't get a majority to get it done. No, fight, fight, fight for these things. Don't leave the chamber until people listen to you about it. So that's what I'm concerned about is we have not been bold enough. We've been too timid. And I said that in my speech in New Hampshire last night.
You can always fight for these things. There are contrasts. Now, before I let you go, I mean, I got to ask you, I've been around this a long time. I've done 3 presidential campaigns. You're not going to tell me right now what you're thinking about. You're going to say that you're thinking about and focus on the people of Illinois, as you should be. But I do want to ask you, have you thought about, you gave a barn burner speech in New Hampshire. Have you set yourself a timeline for when you might make a decision about your future plans?
Listen, I appreciate, I'm flattered by the question, and I can tell you this. It is about winning in 2026 for Democrats all across the country, because we've got to take the Congress back. If we're going to stop Donald Trump in his tracks, right, we've got to be out in the streets now and making our voices heard in order to win in 2026. If we don't win in 2026, I'm fearful that they're going to take away so many voting rights from so many people that won't vote for Donald Trump that indeed will be completely iced out in 2028 and have no chance at all. So I'm about fighting for the people of Illinois by making sure that at the federal level, we stop them from taking away health care, from taking away jobs, from tanking the economy, from raising tariffs and making middle class and working class people suffer.
My mother says, bite the elephant one bite at a time, which is quite applicable here, weirdly. Governor J.B. Pritzker, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me.
Okay, Governor Pritzker hit on some very good points throughout the interview and his speech and everything. I, for one, am looking forward to hearing more from Governor Pritzker. He's sounding really ready for the fight. Yeah, we have some things we need to work on within our party. I hope we will keep them behind closed doors. We need to show a unified front because the Republican Party is all about winning, and we need to do the same. Remember, it's all for naught if you don't win elections. We need to win elections. And infighting with our people in our own party, that's not going to win elections against Republicans. We cannot be bringing a pencil to a knife fight because all they think about is dishonesty and winning. So, yeah, we need to do a little bit of house cleaning, but that should not be the main subject. That should not be at the forefront. What should be at the forefront is stopping this Republican Party from doing the damage that they are doing to our country. Let's keep the target in focus. Is defeating the Republicans, not those within our own party. But I'm liking what I'm hearing from J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. I believe that we're going to have some really good candidates for our party's nomination in 2028. J.B. Pritzker, I believe, is going to be one of them. Tell me, do you think you can jump aboard his camp? Okay, guys, this is it on this one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. I ask you guys to like and subscribe and share with your friends. Thank you.